Yes. Yes, yes. Very good. It's a good thing you called me, boy. Yes, yes.
Do you think you can do anything for it, Professor McFlizzer?
It's McFlizer! Montgomery Sanctamont McFlizer!
Okay, sorry. Professor
McFlizer!
Can you fix it?
Well, it's easy. You just need to learn the syllables in the order in which they go. You should review the pronunciation guide that I sent you when you called me and...
No, Professor. I meant my reviewer's uniform. Can you do anything for it?
Oh, no, heavens no. This suit has seen the end of its run, I'm afraid. Do you know what it means when they say that a car is totaled?
Yeah, that's when the cost of repairing it would exceed the cost of just buying another car.
Well, that's definitely the case here. The magnetic constrictors that were holding the outer casing to the inner suit lining, those are completely shot. And the paint job, I'm afraid that's seen better days.
Yeah, I was afraid you were going to say that. This uniform has seen us through over 2 years of reviewing. It helped me cover both seasons of Dino Charge, the first season of Ninja Steel, and even some of Hyperforce. And that's not even mentioning the off-seasons and the hiatuses.
Well, now remember, my boy, remember, it is the man that makes the clothes, not the other way around. Have you started work on a replacement?
Yes, that was part of Project Akrep.
Yes, the Turkish or Albanian word for scorpion. Very interesting. Continue.
Yeah, so we was making a bit of progress in getting the suit formulated and all, but we kept running into cascade power failures that would cancel the morph.
I see. And tell me about what you were using as a power flow converter.
We didn't really see that as a necessary step.
Not a necessary step? Oh, heavens no! Why would I think such a thing? Why could I possibly think that you would need to regulate and convert morphing grid energy for use on a human body? You know, I'm getting a little sweaty. I think I need to take a shower. Maybe I should go stand under Niagara Falls!
Hey, yo, buddy, maybe take a breath here.
9! You must be made to listen to reason. You simply cannot take raw morphing grid energy and dump it onto a human body. Why do you think the Power Rangers always use morphers? Forget trying to form a suit. You probably darn near killed the man in the process.
Excuse me? Kaizoku?
He's exaggerating, Sean. Don't worry about...
Sauerkraut! You rip-off junk picker! There's so much more at stake here than... Ugh. Must remember the blood pressure. Must remember the blood pressure. Fortunately for you, I have been working on a latest prototype of just such a device. I was planning on using it myself, but perhaps someone who has to worry about their blood pressure involving themselves in such things is wishful thinking. You, step outside, call this number, and answer the automated questions. I'm going to need the data.
Listen, Professor, I really appreciate the help, but just now I actually have a review to get done and...
Liverwurst! Belgian waffles! Now! The data is too important. Time is of the essence here. I will handle your review show and keep that going. Go outside now!
But, Professor...
Enchiladas.
All right, fine. Come on, you guys. Maybe you can provide me some hold music or something.
Hello, and salutations to you, fine heroes of the Orange Ranger. My name is Professor Montgomery Sanctamont McFleazer, and welcome to another Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode review. As a matter of fact, I have the honor of this being the last Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode review. But what could this last episode possibly be about with Galvanex defeated and the Rangers no longer Rangers? Let's find out by taking a look at the 22nd and final episode of Power Rangers Ninja Steel, Past, Present, and Future. This episode starts off with a brand new opening narration that to me seems to be a complete waste of their time. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the new music that they used, and the voiceovers seem to be higher energy than usual. But the thing is, by next season, this is already going to be old news. You can use this for maybe the first episode of next season, and then it's done. Do you know one of the great things about filming a show in California? You can shoot at any time of the year and say it's winter and it will be believable. I mean, heck, the other day it was 78 degrees in Miami. Sometimes those places are just like that at this time of year.
Professor, Miami is in Florida.
Great leaping Frankfurters, don't you think I'm aware of that? I was just saying the two places are similar. Now get back to those questions before... Where was I? Ah, yes, the Rangers are at the school exchanging gifts. I'm not exactly sure why they're at the school. It seems like it should be closed for the holidays, and it seems to be closed for the holidays as there are no other students around. I know the Rangers can use their secret ninja entrances to get in, but wouldn't there be surveillance cameras and maybe even janitorial staff? I mean, aren't the Rangers trespassing right now? Ugh, speaking of unseasonably warm, all this stress has me cooking like a kielbasa right now. I think I'm going to hit this fan. We see Sarah handing out pretty pink presents to everyone, and somehow she knew exactly what all of them wanted. Levi gets a tambourine, a very important instrument for someone who's always been seen playing a guitar. Brody gets noise-canceling headphones so he won't have to listen to Levi's tambourine. Preston gets a ninja cosplay wizard hat. And Haley and Calvin get matching reindeer sweaters. Because, as we're going to see later, when the episode's not focusing on them, the two of them may as well be one character. Even Redbot gets a present, though the advanced robot can't seem to figure out how to open a simple box and dumps it all over the floor. It's nuts and springs. Maybe he is planning to eat them for a balanced meal. He wonders how Sarah possibly could have known what he wanted for Christmas because his wish list was hyper-encrypted. Why would you keep what you want for Christmas a secret? I make lists for Christmas every year and send it out to all my scientist friends. Here, I have this one this year. I will tell you about it. Let's see here. Plutonium, rocket fuel, new Bunsen burner kit, Blaze Megazord. What? It has the shiny orange plastic. I like it. Sarah tells them it is because of her diary. Anytime any of them mention anything that they want, she writes it down in diary so she will remember later. Okay, so now, what did friends get Sarah? Well, it seems like none of them got her anything. They all stall and hem and haw. And by the way, nobody gets up to start to lead Sarah anywhere else, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. What we will speak about now is that a monster has appeared from the stairs. Was the monster upstairs? Anyway, this monster is Cleocatra. Oh, no, wait. Cleocatra has already been destroyed. In fact, the episode makes absolutely sure that we remember everything about that happening 4 episodes ago by having us relive a solid minute, 1 minute of flashback clips. Anyway, this monster's name is Cleocatra, Cleocatra's cousin, who looks precisely the same as Cleocatra, save for a power outage resetting that clock in the monster's chest. I did find myself wondering where exactly Cleocatra came from, seeing as Galvanac's ship is gone, there's no Galaxy Warriors anymore. But I suppose in this universe, interstellar travel is a thing, since all those ships were traveling to the Warrior Dome, and anybody who had been watching Galaxy Warriors would be pretty well aware of where Earth is. She's out for revenge, this one, especially since the Rangers no longer have their ninja power stars. She's also apparently stronger than her cousin. Cleocatra needed to zap an object and then people had to hold it in order to activate the object and freeze them. Cleocatra can just freeze people directly with a ray from her time controller, which she does to the Rangers, with Sarah being the only one smart enough to dive out of the way. Well, actually, I should say that Calvin tried to avoid the ray by jumping over it. However, he was frozen as well. And seeing as this ray freezes people in time, but not in space, gravity should have still been a thing, and anyway, moving on. Sarah very bravely tackles the monster despite not having her powers, grabs its time controller, and runs away. You could try unfreezing your friends while the monster is getting up? She runs into the shopyard and stumbles directly into the sleigh of Sinterklaas. Yes, Santa himself. She treats this just like she had run into Principal Hastings, simply asking Santa what he's doing there. He stammers something about the naughty list and Victor and Monty, who thankfully do not make an appearance in this episode besides a flashback. Cleocatra catches up to them, and now this is when Sarah starts mashing buttons on controller, trying to freeze Monster. But instead of doing so, the tech wizard can't figure this controller out, and accidentally opens a time portal. Now, I spoil this for you all now. This time portal serves absolutely no purpose to plot, except for being sort of staging area for Sarah between clips. I only spoil this because it seems like a very weird thing to do. They have Santa Claus himself, ho ho ho! And they just stick him in purple whoosh whoosh tunnel with nothing to do. The tunnel sucks the sleigh in somehow, and Sarah starts explaining the situation to Santa once they're inside. Santa says that Sarah must destroy this monster. Besides that being completely obvious, Sinterklaas, I do like that he seems to know that she is, or rather that she was, a Power Ranger. I like Santa knowing the identities of the Power Rangers. It's a special case. He can call on them, they can call on him, etc., etc. And another question about this scene. Did Sarah say, wait, months ago? Or 8 months ago? It really sounded to me like she said 8 months ago, and not just because of the way the word itself sounded, but it was more the cadence of her sentence as she was saying it. There's no pause between wait and months ago, which you think there would be. However, if Sarah did say 8 months ago, I am sorry, but no. Christmas is in December. This is just a calendar fact. They had Power Stars in Halloween in October, 2 months before. Maybe not even 2 months before, actually. Halloween being at the end of October. 8 months before would set the events of Galvanex Rises during the month of April. And I am not buying that, so I am really hoping she said, wait months ago, even though it sounded very weird. Regardless, thinking about the past has given Sarah an idea. The time controller. Apparently entering Purple Time Tunnel and not looking at controller once has now given her intimate knowledge of exactly how it works. She will go back into time, retrieve all 6 Power Stars, return and save the Rangers and the world. What a great idea, Sarah! You can go back to some time right after a battle when all the Rangers were together and safe, ask them for Power Stars, save the day, return them 1 second after you left. Easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. Or Sarah can arbitrarily decide that each of the Rangers must be alone when she asks them for their Power Star. Why? Because this is a Neo Saban Power Rangers holiday special, and that means it's a clip show, it's a clip show, it's a clip show, la la la. The format here is that Sarah selects a time that she can go and get a Power Star. We see clips from that episode. Sarah arrives at that time, retrieves Power Star, returns to sleigh, Bob's your uncle, on we go. Sarah, very logically, decides to start with herself. She remembers time that she made holoclones and then Galvanax stole the technology. She had to come up with a way to fight against it, etc., etc. We then see 40 2 seconds of clips from Hack Attack. She arrives, and at first, her past self thinks she's another one of the holoclones. She says that she's from the future, and proves this to her past self by holding up the back of her diary. So Sarah proves to her past self that she is from the future by demonstrating how they both own pink notebooks. Fascinating. And for some reason this works. I mean, for love of pierogies. Besides the fact that Sarah is smart one and should have a zillion more questions, Galvanex has the cloning technology right now. Why would you suddenly believe someone who looks just like you that is asking you for your power star? Whatever, Sarah transports back to the sleigh, and Santa keeps jumping whenever she zaps in and out because... recurring gag? I don't know. Anyway, Sarah decides not to try morphing and fighting the monster by herself. I mean, come on, we could have cut the amount of clips in this episode in half and had very nice 2-minute fight sequence of Sarah getting beaten around by monster. I am just saying. Sarah decides to get the gold power star next, and we see over a minute of clips from what coincidentally was the next episode right after Hack Attack Gold Rush. If you remember, those 2 episodes aired on the same day. If you don't, you watch Sean's 1 video 2 review on it. Was very good, I recommend. But moving on, this was terrible time for Sarah to ask Levi for Power Star. He doesn't even know what Power Star is at this point, let alone that there are others. Though if you think about it, he really should know that there are others, seeing as he saw white and yellow Power Star when he got his gold Power Star. Sarah will not tell him what is going on because of fear of screwing with the timeline, even though that is precisely what she is doing now. But she somehow still convinces Levi to trust her, and he gives her gold Power Star. She next decides to visit the ribbon tree during the episode The Ranger Ribbon. Sean mentioned something about a confusion of which one of those was title of episode at first, but whichever one was title, we get 39 seconds of clips from that episode. Since Calvin and Haley stayed at the tree while the others went to go print flyers. Wait a minute, Sarah. I thought you said the Rangers had to be alone. Oh, no, wait. It's like I said before. When we're not focusing on one of the 2 of them, they go from being Calvin and Haley to #Haven. 1 person in 2 characters. One thing that I really did love about this scene in an ironic sort of way is that it was clear the writers were getting tired of constantly writing Sarah explaining what was going on, but they decided to port that into episode itself. Sarah begins to explain situation to them, but then basically stops and says, "Hey, weird things are happening. I borrow your power stars?" They throw stars down, and she leaves. As Staples says, that was easy. Not as easy as getting Preston's star, however. She decides to visit infamous food fight from Monkey Business. What I find interesting here is that she got white and yellow star from blue focus episode, and now she is getting blue star from white and yellow focus episode. She noted in her diary that Preston was hiding behind a table, because that is perfectly normal thing for teen girl to be writing in her diary. Besides, wasn't everyone? She zaps in, goes into Preston's bag, grabs blue power star, thanks him, even though he's not looking at her, and leaves. The 37 seconds of clips that we got from this episode were longer than Sarah actually spent there. Oh, by the way, something I almost forgot, but I do definitely want to mention. In one of the maybe 2 or 3 scenes in this entire episode where Santa has more than a single line, when Sarah mentions the food fight, he says, "Oh, by the way, I'm feeling a little bit hungry. Maybe you'll bring me back a snack?" Sarah chides Santa, "We need to focus on the task at hand." If Sean were reviewing this episode himself right now, I believe his words would be, "Screw you, Sarah. Time is the one thing that you have right now. You dragged Santa into this situation, and his sleigh is the one safe place you have to go. Bring the man a cookie." At this point, Sarah goes from best time to retrieve Power Star to worst possible time ever. She only needs red Power Star now. So she decides to visit Live and Learn, the third episode, when Brody was sulking with Mick about his abilities and his confidence because of wrist computer thing, and etc., etc. She pops in, says, I need to borrow Power Star for a minute. She brings back right before he runs to save other Rangers. Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. That would have made far too much sense. Instead, she decides to visit Galvanax Rises, when the entire team was captured and Brody was alone with Mick with 1 Power Star and a motorcycle. Gee, I wonder if Brody is going to be willing to give up Power Star after nearly 1 minute of clips from episode we saw 2 weeks ago. He's not? I'm stunned! Yes, it's clear that they only picked this moment for absolutely artificial tension so that one of the Rangers would say no to Sarah and everybody watching could have a little moment. Sarah tells Brody that she knows how he is feeling in that moment because that is how she is feeling right now, which is different from that moment because time travel, she's from future in his... Anyway, she says to just trust her, and of course he does. The only good thing about this scene is that Brody has a fantastic leadership moment, deciding to try and take advantage of Sarah's knowledge of the future by asking what he should do, what the next step is, how does all of this end? She tells him that telling him about the future could mess with the timeline, except that it wouldn't, because you could tell him exactly what happened, and then he would do it, but okay! Sarah then pops back to Slay, telling Santa that she now has all 6 Power Stars, and then showing him she has all 6 Power Stars. Santa may not be famous, respected inventor and scientist like myself, but I'm pretty sure he can count to 6. Sarah tells Santa that now is the time to go back to the school, free her friends, and kick some monster butt. She fiddles with some more of the dials, and the sleigh leaves the time stream in the sky above the school instead of on the ground where it was before, because if this episode didn't care about science at the start of it, why would it possibly start now? So, another nice touch for this episode, and I have to give this episode credit for whatever few things it actually got right. When Sarah returns to the school, she knows enough to hide for a moment so she doesn't run into herself beginning the journey that she is now ending. She unfreezes the Rangers because of course she knows how to do that now, and the unfreeze beam is pink because of course it is. Cleocatra comes running back in. By the way, wouldn't Tai Meow have been a much better name for this monster, don't you think? Sean suggested it. I kind of like it. Anyway, she runs back in to destroy the frozen Rangers that she has, but instead finds 6 very unfrozen and morphed Rangers. So burning with the desire for revenge for her cousin was Cleocatra that when she sees this, she runs away. The Rangers follow her over into some Sentai footage, and Brody pulls the Lionfire Armor Star out of absolutely nowhere. Not only did we not see Sarah recover the star for Brody, Brody did not even have this star at the time that she recovered the red Power Star. Anyway, Brody decides to make use of this, shall we say, unexpected power boost by giving the monster a taste of its own medicine using the time controller? However, Brody is not as good with technology as Sarah and accidentally activates function that unlocks gene that inhibits body growth, as well as creating pocket of accelerated time around subject in order to allow them to grow unchecked at accelerated rate. What is that you are saying to me? That explanation does not make any sense? Well, at least I bothered trying to give you one as to why an object that controls time travel would make somebody grow! After Brody attempts to distance himself from Ninja Steel by pretending he is part of Sentai, calling himself a Mega Ranger, Cleocatra also uses time control device to grow somehow, because that makes sense. Although, come to think of it, I did see a time machine shrink once. Interesting. There was something of a side effect for Cleocatra, though I think it's more of a family thing, because both Cataclock and Cleocatra changed from red to orange when they grew. The Robo-Red Zord catches up with the Lionfire Armor Star, having had a last car seat on the train of plot convenience that just pulled into that makes no freaking sense station. Though you know, that did get me thinking. If what Mick said was true, none of this should have actually worked. When Sarah brought the stars back to this time, they should have dissolved just like theirs did because there was no Ninja Prism. But I do have to admit that it was important to include Robo-Red in this scene. This one kick that he delivered to the monster was obviously a very important plot point. Brody does a finisher, they fit like 5 cat puns into 10 seconds or so, and kaboom. Back at the base, Sarah has returned from traveling back through time and says that all the power stars have been returned to their rightful place in time. Then she takes the time controller and puts it inside of a pot on the stove. Not even a pot of water, it seems, just a pot on the stove over a flame. And this destroys the time controller somehow. And destroying the time controller somehow resets the time stream. So nothing in this episode actually happened. Preston says this is why none of them remember her asking for their power stars. That is true, though you could also point out that she never actually did ask you for yours. She just took it from you, wizard boy. And that brings up the single biggest problem with this episode. If destroying the controller reset the time stream, and this is something that Sarah just knew, then messing with the time stream didn't matter at all. She could have told the Rangers anything she wanted. She could have met with all 6 of them at one time. She could have looked Mick straight in the eyes and given him every single one of that week's lotto numbers, and it wouldn't have made a single iota of difference. This episode undercut itself. And of course, since this wasn't a plot-important episode, we had to shove in... I wonder if I can do it the same way that Sean does it. I will give this a try. The moral of the day! With all the subtlety of Santa trying to jam himself down an extra thin chimney. Sarah nearly losing her friends today, not really, but okay, showed her that she was wrong to be upset about not getting presents from them, and what Christmas is really about is about spending time close to people that you love. Aww. But then the Rangers revealed that of course they got Sarah a present for Christmas. Because, you know, doing the thing where you fool your friend into thinking you didn't get them anything, that's totally a thing that people normally do. On people's birthdays! When were they planning to reveal this information to Sarah? Santa was already in the yard, but they acted like, oh, we did not get you anything. We can explain. And yes, I am sorry if that was spoiling it for you, but Santa actually was Sarah's present. The Rangers know how much she loves speed, so they talked to Santa and got her a ride in Santa's sleigh. And after experience that they just shared, Santa says that Sarah can even take the reins. The completely unnecessary reins, because apparently I was wrong about the water break thing before, and this sleigh just runs on magnetic levitation or something, and the reindeers these days, you know, they're really more for appearances anyway. It totally wasn't because the set that they had to use was too small to have reindeer with the sleigh, and, you know, they couldn't just shoot somewhere else. I have a present for this episode, but just one. Episode 22, Past, Presents, and Future. Pros, kind of a good character piece for Sarah. There was some attention to detail with time travel, and that's kind of it. Cons, this episode has no reason to exist. They got a lot of stuff about the time travel wrong, and subverting Sarah's focus with a giant Brody. Oh, look here, it looks like Sean left me a note for this part. Okay, let me read it for you all right now. I had been considering, with each Christmas time, doing another episode review all in rhyme, but this one wasn't worth it, and no, I don't jive. Past, Present, and Future gets 1 star out of 5. I have spoken to Sean in past about starting these prose sections with backhanded praise. Not the best thing to do, really. But now I am starting to see where he is coming from when he says it is not an easy thing to avoid necessarily. Sarah did have some good things in this episode. She was very brave when she tackled the monster without having any powers. She stayed calm in the time tunnel and came up with a plan of action. And she convinced all of her friends to trust her and give her their powers. She was also incredibly inconsistent and made some really bad, dumb decisions. But we are reaching here. Likewise, there were a few aspects of the time travel thing that I actually liked. First of all, even though there was the whole boiling the time travel controller will somehow fix everything situation, the whole I can't tell you what happens in the future thing is a trope a lot of time travel stories have used, and it does create a little bit of interesting tension. And also, Sarah making sure to avoid her most current past self so she didn't interrupt the process from the start, that was a nice touch. And that really was kind of it. I know some of you will be saying, what about Giant Brody? What about Santa Claus? Nope. Far too many problems with both of them to include them as positive things. Nearly 1/4 of this episode is clips from old episodes. Seriously, I am a scientist. I did math. You can trust me. Okay, exact numbers. 22.8% of actual episode running time comprises flashback clips from old episodes. Clips should be fast, quick, 10 to 15 seconds at the most. This episode absolutely dragged because it had a paper-thin plot of its own and just focused far too much on the clips from the other episodes. I mean, for goodness sake, they take Santa Claus himself and stick him in purple whoosh-whooshy time tunnel and give him absolutely nothing to do. Sarah's time controller lets her jump directly from time to time to time. She never even needed to come back to the sleigh. In the end, this is the epitome of an episode that feels like it was made because the network demanded it. Even if it does sort of feel like it was planned from the very beginning, because it feels like Sarah's time travel scenes were actually shot during the episodes that they took place in. And for all the things this episode did right with time travel, whoo-hoo, boy! You know, I hate to say this about a franchise in which Sean's favorite season is Time Force, but I do think Power Rangers would be pretty well served if they never tried to write time travel again. This is now 2 seasons in a row where they have screwed it up. We have Sarah expressing concern about protecting the timeline when she apparently knew that destroying the controller was a big reset button. We have her reassuring the other Rangers that she would take good care of their power stars and have them right back to them when she was literally capable of returning them 1 second after she took them. And we have her selecting the worst possible time to take Brody's star, even when she could return it 1 second later. I mean, for Christmas' sake, Sarah's misadventures in time were apparently so weird and strange that they somehow resurrected the Ninja Nexus Prism so it could just be sitting there in the base like nothing had happened to it. You know, we are having a saying in the country that I am from, Jaborski Nadeshkaba. What it means in English is, what the fuck? And this really bugged me, and you know that it gets to Sean because he's talked about empowering female characters in the past. But to have a Sarah focus episode where she saved the day by herself, journeying around time, getting their powers so they could all use them. To have that episode end with Sentai footage where Brody grows large to win the giant monster fight is just a terrible mixture of Sentai footage with your actual plot. Either have Brody be the one that travels through time to get the power stars, which, come to think of it, would make the Galvanax Rises problem a little less bad, actually. Or use Sentai footage where the Pink Ranger was the one who saved the day. This is not difficult. In the end, not even the absence of Victor and Monty could save this episode. It was just very, very bad. The plot was too weak, the clips were too long, and I am all too glad that it's over. Now let's see if Sean is done inputting that data. Sean!
All right, Professor, all set.
Oh, good. Your fingernails must have been freezing. I was just talking about you.
Do you mean that my ears were burning?
Why would your ears be burning?
Listen, never mind. Anyway, I answered all of those questions. There sure were a lot. What was all of that for, anyway?
Oh, I was just signing you up for my mailing list. Fruitcake recipes every Monday.
Really?
No, I kid. I told you I was gathering data, very important data. I have it here already. I go back to my lab now, but this won't take long. Just make very simple modifications to prototype and we'll be ready to go. What is your next video?
Well, I've got a strange feeling that my review of the Ninja Steel Christmas episode is going to be a little bit longer than usual. So I guess my next video is going to be a separate announcement of the off-season video schedule. Either that or I'll get that review of Hyperforce Session 6 done.
This off-season schedule video you mentioned, that is providing data to your viewers. I don't think we should interfere with that too much. But this Hyperforce video you mentioned, I think that will be a good time to provide you with something very, very good.
The Hyperforce session reviews have been going really well, though. I'm not sure if I want to interfere with the filming there with any other stuff. So it could be the first off-season video as well, I guess.
Very well then. You let me know when you are ready, and I will provide you with excellent technology. I take my leave of you now. See you soon.
Okay. He sure is an eccentric, huh? But I mean, his Yelp review says he's one of the best when it comes to Morphin Grid suit repair, so guess we'll see what he comes up with. Anyway, heroes, that's going to wrap up the last Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode review. Thank you all so much for watching and following along with me this entire season. Let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments down below, as well as, well, I guess Professor McFlizzer's review of it. Let me know how he did. Did he do a good job? Maybe I'll have him back later on. Who knows? Also, make sure to like the video by clicking the like button right down below. Subscribe to the channel to see all my videos, and make sure you ring that bell and get your notifications set up so that you get notified of whenever I post brand new videos, just like whatever this Ninja Steel episode review actually was. And I will say that Morphin Grid suit repair isn't exactly a cheap process. So if you've got it to spare, you don't have to. If you wanted to toss me a little bit of donation money, a little bit of tips for my channel, head over to digitaltipjar.com/orangerangerbid. You can just toss me whatever little spare change you'd like. I would greatly appreciate anything you can provide. But even if you can't, thank you so much for watching, sharing the videos, telling your friends about them, commenting, etc., 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 etc. I hope you're all having a wonderful holiday season, and until next time, may the power protect you.
I have spoken. School should be closed for the holidays. Now, she's out for revenge, this one, especially since the Rangers no longer have their Ninja Power Stars. I have to wait to make sure people don't leave message, and they didn't, which they gave up months ago. Because he saw white and yellow star when he got his gold star. Anyway, he doesn't thanks him, even though she's not looking. Inhibits and blocks the gene that locks off when the body finishes growing. I'm just gonna do that again. There was something of a side effect for having had a last seat car train fart. What is that? Brody does a finisher. They fit like 5 cat puns into 10 seconds and kaboom. Back over at the base. And of course, since this wasn't a plot convenient episode, plot convenient,